The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. Jesus said to his disciples, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. You have faith in God. Have faith also in me. In my Father's house there are many dwelling places. If there were not, would I have told you that I am going to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back again and take you to myself, so that where I am, you also may be. Where I am going, you know the way." Thomas said to him, "Master, we don't know where you are going. How can we know the way?" Jesus said to him, "I am the way, and the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you know me, then you will also know my Father. From now on, you do know him and have seen him." Philip said to him, "Master, show us the Father, and that will be enough for us." Jesus said to him, "Have I been with you for so long a time, and you still do not know me, Philip? Whoever has seen me has seen the Father. How can you say, 'Show us the Father'? Do you not believe that I am in the Father, and the Father is in me? The words that I speak to you, I do not speak on my own. The Father who dwells in me is doing his works. Believe me that I am in the Father, and the Father is in me, or else believe because of the works themselves. Amen, amen, I say to you, whoever believes in me will do the works that I do, and will do greater ones than these, because I am going to the Father." The Gospel of the Lord. And now a Mother's Day joke. There was a little girl who asked her mom, "How did the human race appear?" Pretty deep question for a little girl. And mom answered, "God made Adam and Eve, and they had children, and so was all mankind made." Well, 2 days later, the girl asked her dad the same question. Dad answered, "Well, many years ago, there were monkeys from which the human race evolved." Well, the confused girl returned to her mom and said, "Mom, how is it possible that you told me the human race was created by God, and Dad said they developed from monkeys?" And the mother answered, "Well, dear, it is very simple. I told you about my side of the family, and your father told you about his." And today is not to get into an evolution question. It's very possible for both to happen, that God could use those monkeys, but we're not getting into it. The father usually speaks from the head. The mother speaks from the heart. In fact, you usually say that the authority of the family is in the father, and the heart of the family is in the mother. And in God, we have both, authority and heart. And so we see God through both. But it was God that said that he is love. And so nothing against fathers today, but mothers, you're very close to God just because you are the heart. Today's readings are all about the home. And the home, of course, is the father and mother and kids. So what is a home to us? It's usually a place of safety and security. It's where our needs are met. We're fed, we sleep. It's also where our loved ones are. Now, many people think of this purely in a physical way. Today, our readings challenge us to think of it also in a spiritual way, that we're spiritually fed, that we have our spiritual needs met, that we have spiritual security in our homes. Our readings today are all about Jesus being at the center of our homes and our lives. Now, where was our first home? And if I asked this of my founder, he would, of course, say it was heaven. We can't quite remember it, but we started in heaven and got sent to our families. But I would also say that maybe the first home we remember, or at least remember in feeling, was the wombs of our mothers. That we started in complete security and love, enveloped in their wombs. And later, we were enveloped in their arms. So in a real way, the mother is the first home of all of us, other than heaven. If you ever go to Rome, I know if you do, you're going to visit St. Peter's Basilica. And when you go to St. Peter's Basilica, you enter through this large open court. And there are two large wings that come out like this. And they will tell you on the tour, it's because the church wants you to know that it is a home, that those are arms coming out to hug you, to embrace you, almost like a mother coming to embrace their child. Our church is a home for us. And in our second reading today, we have the first letter of St. Peter, our first pope. And he wants us to understand this. The church is not just a building. It's a people. He says, we are living stones, making up this church, making up this building. And the cornerstone is Jesus Christ. What does that mean, that the cornerstone is Jesus? Well, if you've ever played the game Zynga, where you have to pull the pieces out and put them on top until it falls, the cornerstone is that piece that you can't pull out, that it's going to fall, that it is essential or the whole house collapses. And so what St. Peter is saying is that the church is a family, and that the essential person that everyone leans on when they're in need, when they need help, is Jesus Christ. When we go on to our first reading, we have a look at the first church, the early church, the naming of the deacons. And so, what did that first church look like? Well, it had the apostles all in prayer, saying the Mass, bringing Jesus to the people, just like our bishops and priests. But at one point they realized, we got to do all this other stuff. We got to go and buy groceries. We got to bring and distribute food to those in need. And they elected the deacons. The deacons are the doers. Literally, it means those that serve. And so we see in this first church family the heart, the praying people, the contemplatives, and the active people, the ones still praying, still connected to God, but giving out in charitable works. And we see that in our families as well. We see prayer and we see action. We see staying close to God, and we see following God to do good things and loving everyone around us. And finally, our gospel. Why is Jesus that essential part to our church and our homes? Jesus today says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. So what does the way mean? It reminds me of a very old Catholic joke, and it's more of a saying, really. Everyone who gets to heaven becomes Catholic. And it literally means that if you go to heaven, once you get there, even if you are Buddhist or anything else, you see the truth and you become Catholic. Catholics I believe that we have the fullness of truth. I don't believe that only Catholics are going to heaven. Anyone that goes towards God, longs for God, has a chance of getting to heaven. But once you get to heaven, well, guess what you're going to find out? You should have been Catholic. But Jesus makes a statement today that all salvation goes through him. He is the one way to heaven, whether you know it or not. Whether you're Buddhist, Hindu, whether you're Protestant, atheist, if you are lucky enough to get to heaven, I should have been Catholic. It was Jesus that was talking to me this whole time. But he also says he is the truth. That again, everything he teaches us makes it easier to get to heaven. When you're Catholic and know your faith and listen to your faith, it is easier to get to heaven if you live that faith, because it's the way that's teaching it to you. He's our compass. And finally, he is the life. What does it mean to have life, to be resurrected? It means to have purpose. It means to have joy. You're not just going through life. It means you're living life. That Jesus is just not giving us rules. He made us, and he knows what we need. He knows how we can be fulfilled. And when we trust in him, he gives us a life right now. And so today, that we find out that's why Jesus is essential to our lives. He is the way, the truth, and the life. And ultimately, we find out that this home of the church is just preparing us for the everlasting home of heaven. And if you want to go just a little deeper, we find out that Jesus, that God himself, is the home. That being close to him gives us all those things that we named off in the beginning. God gives us security and safety. God feeds us and gives us all of our needs. And when we're with God, we have all of our loved ones with us too. And so, my brothers and sisters, God is our true home. That's how the martyrs could die for this church. There's nothing anyone could take from them. They had God. They had everything. They had heaven itself. They're like a turtle carrying their home on their back, and you can't take it. And so, what we first experience with our mothers when we're born is that complete security and safety. That leads us ultimately to Jesus as the fulfillment. Mothers are our bridge. Ultimately, we find out that Jesus, that God is the source, going through our mothers, giving us everything that we need. And when kids go away from home, what do mothers do? They become prayer warriors. They realize that it's now God giving everything to their kids. And God willing, the kids realize that. And so, motherhood is meant to grow. And this is my last point before I end. When you're a mother, you're not supposed to just have your own kids. Everyone that comes into your life becomes your kid. Everyone in this world needs a mother. Doesn't need just one mother, needs many mothers. I need love. And I'm so lucky because every church I've gone to, I've ended up with lots of mothers. Of course, my heart goes out to my heavenly mother, my biological mother, but I'm so thankful to all the mothers around me too. And every woman is called to be a mother. And so today we honor our mothers for all they have done, especially for their love. Our mothers show us that we too can show people God by our love. It does not stop between a mother and her child. I challenge every mother here to let your hearts grow. Our world needs mothers. Let every child that you see be yours. And may every child see Jesus, see God in all you do, just like I am sure your family already does. And finally, through our mothers, may we all see that we come from God, that we come from love as our true source, not from monkeys. The monkeys are not my side of the family. God love you all. And again, happy Mother's Day to all those here and all those watching.